Hey there, Cheesemeisters, and welcome back to the Peach Pod. That would have been multiple times Losing My Religion by REM, the Brenda Mopathon song. I am Jeff, and who am I to blow against the wind? Joining me on the other end of the internet is my host.
I'm Leslie, and I know all I want to know about your father.
Yay, Iris impressions are back.
Oh,
That makes me
yes.
happy. Because Iris is back, you guys. This week we are discussing season 3, episode 20, Parental Guidance Recommended. Original air date February 3rd, 1993. And you know what that means. Get out your brooms. Home Stokes, friend of the little man. I'm sweeping out the corruption and the cronyism.
Oh, no.
Rascalism. It's sweeps month, everybody. I'm a member of a certain secret society. I don't think I have to mention any names.
Oh, God.
See, this is why watching things like Oh Brother is good, because I can say nonsense like that and you know what I'm talking about.
This is true.
Yeah, it's the glory. So I'm in a new background this week, in beige purgatory, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
We need a newspaper.
I know, right? There may be some echo. I don't know if you're, but I'm in a larger space. So, if the sound quality is a little whatever this week, that's the reason. So did you throw up in your mouth or throw something during this episode? I think it's a relatively vomit-free episode, but we'll see. We'll see where you're.
It's definitely vomit. It's definitely vomit free, and I don't even know if it was throw worthy. Like I should have known. I knew Iris was gonna, fail. Like was gonna give up.
Disappoint. Yeah.
Yeah, I had hope for a minute, and then I remembered what I'm watching and who I'm watching, and that pretty
Mm-hmm.
much all the parents in 90210 are incapable of, I don't know, making one good parenting decision a season.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like Jim gave a solid hug, like in this
Yes.
episode. Thumbs up for Jim's hugging. Um, everyone else, not so sure. So here's what happens in this episode. Brenda is reeling, sitting in her bedroom nonstop, listening to REM, because that is the song that was playing when she and Dylan broke up the first time. And she has fond memories of how bad she felt then, because it's so much better than how bad she feels now, which is relatable, like good for you, Brenda. Um, that's an interesting thing. She's also having daydreams about like axe murder and the like. I mean,
Cutting
if nothing
hair.
else, cutting hair and just torturing surfboards. Um, so that's not great. But she's just trying to figure it out. Iris comes to town so that Jack can get her to sign off on dissolving the trust and turning all of Dylan's money over to Dylan so that Dylan can turn it over to Jack, for sound financial reasons. And not at all manipulative reasons. And David has got a record company interested in his music, even though he couldn't win over Diesel Stone and Waste Management. David does have Serge Mencken is the producer, and I can't remember what the other guy's name is. The guy they meet, Tony something, or I can't remember his name. But anyway, at the record,
Too manic for
the
me.
record label. Oh, that guy was a lot.
Like,
Is it? But
if I had gone into that meeting, I would have needed a proxy and been like, you're a lot for me. Even on 3 cups of coffee, you're going to be a lot for me. So if we're going to work together, either take a downer or I need proxy.
Yeah, and my proxy is Steve, this teenager who,
Oh my
for
god.
some reason, I can't get rid of as my manager. Um, yeah, I mean, did you for a second believe that guy when he said, uh, "Oh, I've never had a drug problem," um, in
No.
the middle of whatever cocaine storm he was in the middle of? Curtis Bray, that's his name.
I don't believe anyone who relies on sucking up to get their way.
Mm,
I just don't.
okay.
I've I've never responded well to that. I hated when students would suck up to my mom who taught.
Hmm.
I hated it when I was a substitute teacher or teaching. I was just immediately like, no, please just do your fucking work or leave me alone. Um,
Right.
be a good kid. That's all I ask. But sucking up to me will
Yeah.
not win you anything. And similarly, in like, not that anyone is ever trying to suck up to me in the arts, but if I don't know, I don't like the whole blowing steam up one's ass, Just be real.
Yeah.
This industry is hard enough without bullshitting other people.
Yeah. And I don't get the. I mean, okay, so David has a couple songs, and his demo is wowing people in the industry, the seedier parts of the industry. Like, although probably all of it. Um, so like he has this chance to make a record and get a record deal, and I don't get it, but that's okay. Uh, but Donna is, God bless Donna for being like, motherfucker, I'm already doing your radio show so you can graduate a whole year early.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think you now have time to make a record? And David's like, don't worry about it. Like, he's almost like patting her on the head. He's like, don't you worry about it, sweet little thing. It's fine. I got this covered. I got the Sanders Management Group at my back, and
He's on the
completely
express train
on
to
the
being an
level.
asshole.
Oh yeah, there's a thing like because like he comes into the Peach Pit, the to talk to Steve at the end, and David or Nat is like, David, would you give us an autograph for our Wall of Fame, which is cute and like good for Nat, like
Yeah.
supporting the kids and all that kind of stuff. But David's like, sure, Nat. Like, there's a weird attitude in his answer that is not
Yeah.
the David we know heretofore, you know. But anyway, he meets with Curtis Bray, and Curtis Bray is like, lose the yuts. You got a lot of yutses? Just this one. Lose him. Fire Steve or no deal. And Kelly is like, and you're still talking to this asshole? Like, what the fuck? Like, why would you still entertain a working relationship with these unscrupulous, these Curtis Brays of the world who are he's straight up looking to use Serge Mencken, who's, he needs you, he needs us more than we need him, kid. This is a great relationship. And so David is put in the position of having to cut Steve loose in order to chase his dream. So that's a thing that he does. And Brandon is still gambling on basketball, buying expensive car stereo equipment, and uh, raising the suspicions of
Yes.
Jim just a little bit, and raising the ire of Cindy, who's like, I'm afraid you're just too darn loud with your new
Oh my
bump
god.
and start our stereo system.
Shout outs to Cindy.
I know Cindy is all of us. Cindy is everyone over the age of 35. Because I'm counting you as the cutoff for where things are just too loud anymore.
I I was that person recently at a New York bar because they had just amped up the music, and I said, no, absolutely
Yeah.
fucking not. You all knew you had a Christmas party happening in here, and now other people are here and they're
Mhm.
talking. This is not just a bar, this is also a restaurant. And I begged the waitress, I said, I'm sorry to be that person, but I am begging you because it is right over
Yeah.
us and I can't fucking think. And
Yeah.
bless her, she did it. You guys, I had a win finally in the city,
Good job.
and I
Turn
didn't
it
have to cuss
down.
anyone out.
Hey, thumbs up for that. We went to we're down in southern Indiana, and last night we went out to a bar that had like a Christmas themed pop up situation, and yeah, and like we were just milling about around the bar, like just sitting and chit chatting, and like I mean we're old fuckers, so we got there at like 6:45 after eating. Like we ate first, and then
Duh.
6:45. Do we think things are still open? And
I
so
know.
we went to this place. We were ridiculous. Um, and so we're sitting there, and then there's an upstairs, and someone's like, "Oh, it doesn't open. It's not open yet. Not it opens at 7:30." And I'm like, "Well, it's 7:15. Well, we'll see what's happening with this upstairs situation." And so we're milling about, and then I hear someone over my shoulder, and the place is starting to like fill up. People are showing up for whatever is going on. Um, and like I heard some woman behind me say, "It's like, oh, it's $5 to go upstairs," and I'm like, all right, what do they think is worth $5 extra? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and what, and also only $5? Like,
I
I mean,
know.
it's a real low cost to entry, and so I'm like, what could possibly be up there that's worth any amount of money, but also not worth more than $5? And I was like, I gotta find this out. So I didn't go up, but I asked the guy, and his answer was like the nonsensiest answer you've ever heard. It was like, um, it's a like a more exclusive um,
Stop.
environment. No, yeah, and he was like, and he's like, it's smaller, more intimate bar. I was like, okay, so smaller bar, that's good. Having like make it harder to get drinks, and he's like, there's some specialty cocktails up there. And I'm like, well, there's specialty cocktails down here. And I didn't pay $5. I was like, okay, so confirmed, not worth the $5. I don't understand what this is. And then like 20 minutes later, some other, like a guy comes out and he's like, over here, we got live music. And he's just saying things like rap and jazz and fusion and funk and rock. And I was like, all right. And so I'm like, I got to find out what's going on with this thing. So like I walk over to the other end of the bar, and there's like it's closed doors. You have to pay to get in. This place is $10. But at
Stop.
least there was no, yeah, $10 to get into this part of the place. But it was at least live music, and I was like, so what happens behind the like I want to know what goes on behind the green door, just like um, Leonardo DiCaprio in his Once Upon a Time in Hollywood dance sequence.
Oh, okay.
Remember the where he's doing the TV like the shindig dance and he's singing the song about behind the green door? That's what I wanted to
Oh,
know.
I forgot that. Okay, where
Yeah.
was this? Was this on the Indiana side or the Louisville side?
No, it's in Louisville. It was I
That makes
think and
sense.
it was in I think what used to be Butchertown Pub.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think I ever been to Butchertown. So it whatever. Um and I was like, wait a minute. And she was like, right now there's jazz and hip hop going on. And I'm like,
At the same time.
simultaneously? Right. That's what I said. And she was like, no, and like looked at me like I was a moron. And I'm like, well, you have not sufficiently described the situation to me.
No.
Um, but I didn't ask her, but I was like, do you think if we gave her $2, we could look in? Like, I don't want to go in, but I'm curious. I want to see what's happening behind the green door. And we didn't try. We didn't try with the $2. But thankfully, they kept the volume level low in the area we were in, so we could still continue to talk. But it was no, we were definitely it, there was some silliness involved that we were just like. I mean, I'm happy to pay you too much for this old fashioned. That's
Right.
fine. I'll pay you too much for your drink. That's okay. I don't want to also pay you for the ability to walk up your stairs. Um, $5.
that are
So,
old.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
That was like
So
the one
anyway,
bad thing about Irish Lion is those dangerous stairs. Like that place
all those
kept you
stairs
from
were
getting
tough.
too drunk because you would die.
Yeah, coming back, going up, not a problem. Coming back down, danger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want any part of it. Um, I just want to eat a mutton pie.
I just want
Um,
the Celtic stew.
I know, you sons of bitches. Um, I know. All right,
2024
back
is
to,
the worst.
I know.
I'm
First
sorry.
Richard Simmons, and now this.
That's true.
I chose, like, we were just watching the year in, like, all the people who died, and so I picked one of them.
I always
It
forget.
could have picked Shannon, obviously, but
Yep.
going to Richard Simmons is funnier. Um, so, oh, and the other thing that happens in this episode is that Andrea goes to a mixer for incoming Yaleys and runs into Jordan fucking Bonner.
And they hit it
Yeah,
off. He
they
faxes
did.
her.
Fax flirting is not a thing, but
Oh,
I
okay.
like it. I don't think that's a thing. But it was a thing here, and he boola boola'd her, and she's like, what a crazy guy. Andrea's reaction to other people is hilarious to me sometimes,
I
where
know.
she's like,
I
what
know.
a crazy guy. What a card. Rapscallion. Like, she's just, like, she is so mom
I know.
in high school. It's like, what a card. That Jordan Bonner.
He's
Yeah.
going
So
places.
he is. But Andrea is one of the Tahoe Zuckermans. Very droll. Which that the very droll actually made me laugh. Like that guy just assuming that like the joke. Oh, Van Nuys. Let me adjust my monocle.
I know.
Ridiculous. Yeah. So Jordan's back, and that's kind of fun. It's exciting to see Jordan Bonner.
Indeed.
Getting into
And
Yale
he's got
on
a
a
full ride to
full.
Yale.
He does, which I confirmed with someone last night who has a child going to Yale at present that they do not give academic scholarships to Yale. It's all needs based. So
Oh,
Jordan got there because he needed the money, even though he got in because he's smart. Obviously that was just him getting through his anger. This is him getting through. Like, I don't know, Jordan. What pissed me off, Walsh? Uh, I don't know. You know what? Here's the truth. No one could have seen this coming. That's all I'm saying.
everybody could have seen this coming.
Oh man, Andre and
Everybody.
Jordan. I love it. Um, I get. It feels like a lot of stuff is progressing, but I'm not sure how
Yes.
much happens in this episode. You know?
I really appreciated the fact that uh, they let us see someone mourn a relationship because that's something
Mm-hmm.
that is skipped over so much in future teen dramas. And I don't know if it's because they're trying to show that these women characters are stronger than this and like you can be both. Like you
Right.
should absolutely mourn a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Um Otherwise that could be why you get back with them.
Right.
Which is I could go into a whole lecture series about teen dramas and breakups alone. But like
Yeah.
all that to say, I don't know. What I was watching Brenda do, I was like, I've done this and in a much less understanding space. So I'm glad her
Mm-hmm.
family gave her that space to do it. I'm glad she gave herself the space to do it and that she said, you know what? I'm wearing flannel this week. I'm dressing comfily. I'm going
Yep.
to listen to sad music. I'm going to needlessly cut up some photographs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to enjoy some violent fantasies. Like, for someone whose play is mostly violent fantasies, I
Mm-hmm.
endorse this. Let it
Yeah.
out. Let it out,
Do it.
Brenda.
All right, so let's use Brenda as a way to get into talking about Iris, because Iris is back, and in the most inconvenient way, getting on a 3 hour early flight and taking a cab and just fucking showing up at Dylan's house while he's trying to get some.
I
Um,
think you missed a button though too.
yeah, well, accurate. Um,
In the most layered outfit. Like, I know it's the 90s. It was so unnecessarily layered. I think also they're trying to make Kelly look larger to be like, yeah, this is
mm,
why she's crash dieting. And I'm like, no, not. Or also sometimes people layer up to hide that they're losing weight.
oh yeah, sure. Um, yeah, I never, I, I didn't notice her clothes other than the weird buttoning part.
Yeah.
Um, but Iris notices all of it. Who is this?
Yeah.
And Brenda is a Scorp, and she loves neatness. And typical Scorp.
Except her birthstone is an emerald, and that's in May, so she's a Taurus.
Yeah, that is. You're not the first person in fandom to go Iris. Um,
Thank God.
yeah, and it's not. It's just one of those things where the writers forgot what they said before.
I know.
So it's just like Kelly is going to have two different birthdays. Heads up.
I know. Why?
I don't know. But like towards the end of this season, there's an episode that takes place on her birthday. And at the beginning of season 6, there's an episode that takes place on her birthday. But one of them is at the end of the season, this one, and that one's at the beginning of the season. Two totally different months of the year.
I'm
So,
betting that's where that's when her crash dieting is going to come to a head because she's going to refuse to eat cake, and that's when and only when people will notice something is wrong because no logical person says no to cake.
that's true. Um, as someone whose birthday is in a couple of days, like I don't know how much cake I'm going to eat, but I'm with you. You got to have
Some
a
kind of
piece.
cake, cookie
Some kind
cake,
of cake.
pie,
Yeah.
something
Something.
round, a cupcake. You just need to
Yeah.
have cake. Marie Antoinette said, let them eat cake. Not really, but by gosh, we should have cake for her.
She was right. Marie Antoinette, right about everything. That's what we said.
Nope.
That wasn't your point?
Nope.
All right, I got that wrong. But Iris, okay, I loved Kelly's like shows up, talks to Donna, met Iris, and everyone thinks Iris is a nut job because she's into new age things like crystals and astrology and
Rude.
whatever. Yeah. And Donna's like, is she as weird as Dylan says? And Kelly's like, more judgmental and bitchy?
I know, she
Which
says it in the sweetest way possible.
I know, it's so fun. I feel like this is the first time Kelly's cursed. And it just like it was just funny, like the way she described her. And I'm like, yeah, that feels right. And she talks about her best friend Brenda. And like, I look, Iris doesn't show up unless she's gonna sign those papers. Like when she walks in the state of California that she, like if you're not gonna sign them, stay in your treehouse, dummy.
Right.
So she shows up, so we know where this is headed. And even though she's like, Jack is a user, he's a car salesman who'll tell people whatever they want to hear.
I never could stand up to him.
I thought when he was in prison we would have a break.
Instead of a
Yeah.
break from prison. Zing.
Oh, he broke out somehow. No one knows. No one's asking either. Everyone goes, I wonder how he got out of prison, but no one really cares because there's no follow-up questions.
Oh, shit. Have people
Uh-oh.
in the justice system bought him off? Did cops bribe him? Is he gonna be like undercover?
Interesting. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
I didn't put that together. I had forgotten the whole piece about everyone's like, why did you get out? How did you get out?
Yep. I don't know. The lawyers talked to the lawyers and they did a thing and I ran for it. Uh,
Sure.
I mean, there's clearly something happening with Jack because he's having clandestine phone calls on the in his room with the door closed, even though no one's there. Close the door on your way out. Um,
Right.
Look, I lied through my teeth to get the money. Now you keep your end of the bargain. So he's got something happening. Like Jack is up to something. We just don't know what it is yet. And Iris is like, all right, here, you can have the money. Like, I tried for almost a whole episode, but again, this is a lot for me. Like,
Yeah. Like, there's the older I get, the more I realize some areas I don't want to say you can't prepare people for, because I think you could. I think you just need to be willing that it might take multiple different tries to get someone to listen. Iris is a parent.
in name only.
He in I get yeah, in name only, but like I really can't figure out if she does or does not want to be, because she's worried about pushing him away. And she's like, well, that's all I'm doing anyway, so I might as well fuck up his life, let him make his own choices. Fine, except also fuck you. You're terrible because you had a chance. You didn't want to be the bad guy. That's all this was. She just didn't want to be
Yeah.
the bad guy. She couldn't handle being the villain in his story for years and be willing to wait out, like, you know what? One day you'll know. One day you
Mhm.
will understand why I did what I did. Or you won't. But at least I can die knowing that you're not going to be broke, that your father's not
Yeah.
going to screw over your life even more than he already has.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, it's what she did last time. She showed up, she put in minimal effort, and then she gave him money. Like, that's all she can do. It's literally her only move is here's some money. I'm going back to Hawaii. Might start a Waldorf school. Not sure.
Oh my God.
I mean, like I taught in a Waldorf school. That's what she's describing. Um,
Oh.
and kind of. I mean, she's basically talking
Okay.
about a Waldorf school. So, I hope she started one in Hawaii and everyone had a good time doing the Eurythmy and wearing their silks and talking about circles and angels and shit. That's what happens at a Waldorf school. Um, so, but she goes to Brenda and has some really good advice for Brenda. You know, where she's like, "This isn't the end of your relationship with Dylan, even if you're not dating anymore. Like,
Hmm.
you're still going to continue. Like, even if this relationship ends, it's not the end of your relationship with this relationship.
Yeah.
You're going to continue to process this and think about this is your first love. This is going to carry forward
Yeah.
in any number of ways throughout your life. You're going to feel a way about it when you're 20. You're going to feel a different way about it when you're 25. Like, you're going to be looking back at this, and your relationship will continue to evolve.
Yeah.
So this is just where it is right now. So, maybe don't Emily Valentine all of your shit. Like, you don't need to set fire to it. You don't even need to almost set fire to it. Just take a breath. Just kind of, wear your crystals. It's fine. They'll protect you from the bad juju out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, and Brenda's like, sound. But let's maybe talk about what this episode is really about.
Okay.
What do you got? I had a few things.
The main thing that came up for me pretty early on was I feel like this episode is about letting go of people and the
Okay.
challenges that come with that and whether or not it's the right thing to do. Because, you have David's faced with the challenge of letting go of Steve,
Yeah.
which shitty, but Steve is also a teenager. So, like, yes, let go of Steve as a manager because that's not a thing, but maybe don't do it to get ahead, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I really need someone to put David in his place. Um, Iris with Dylan. Like,
Mm-hmm.
parenting has clearly never been for her.
No.
Um, and she feels like she's in this situation of, I guess it's a catch-22 with Dylan. Like, either I give him what he wants and he gets screwed over by his father, or I don't, and then I further destroy in the near future my relationship with my son. Well, you
Right.
already don't have much of a relationship, so it it kind of feels like she just lights the match, throws it behind her, and walks away.
Yeah, that's kind of Iris's move, I think. Um,
um, and then Brenda with Dylan and Kelly.
yeah, I completely agree. The David letting go is like I've wanted all along for him not to have a teenager as his manager because it's real stupid.
Yeah.
And I've all like don't hire Steve, anyone to do anything. It, stop it. But like for David to like choose now, like he's doing the right thing at the wrong time for the wrong reason. And you just go, God damn it, David. Like, come on.
Yeah, I agree. It just, I'm sure all of this has been building as subtly as everything else, but I don't know, it still feels a little out of left field. Like, for someone not getting laid, he has a little too much confidence, for my opinion.
Right. He's got he's got what they call BDE, Big David energy. It's really he's just you know, he's going to be a rock and roll star. That's, you know,
Rocking, rolling, and whatnot.
whatnot. You know what I bet? I bet he doesn't know what pinks are. I'm just going to fight you for saying I don't know what a thing means. Um, yeah,
Make him look
I
stupid.
that's right. You don't need any help from me, sir. That's right. See what I did there? It's the Grease Clue 90210 like mashup that no one knew they needed, but they did. Well, that's what we do. We give people what they want, even though they don't know that's what they wanted.
It's true.
Um, one of the things I think this is about is in line with that is selling people out for short money.
Oh,
Like people in this are like Iris sells out Dylan for the like potentially the money to start a Waldorf school, but definitely for the non-financial gain of having no conflict at all with her kid. Like she's just like, I don't want any drama at all, so I'm just going to give you what you want. I'm out.
yep.
Um, David is willing to sell out Steve for short money. Like there are look, if the whole town is a buzz over David Silver without the commotions, then another Curtis Bray is out there who's maybe not as sleazy as this one. Maybe more upfront about their drug problem. And he could turn this guy down, but he doesn't. He's like, this is the only person who's interested in me. I'm out on Steve. Fuck off. Which again, fully support telling Steve to fuck off. It just in
Yeah.
general. But for this reason, it's just David. Come on now. Um, Jack is willing to sell people out for money. He's willing to sell out Dylan for whoever's on the other end of that telephone. Um, you know, he needed to get his hands on that cash, and he did, or he's about to anyway. And so it's like, yep, selling it out. And Brandon is he's all about that short money. He's just betting that basketball. He's again, Brandon starts from a position of factual accuracy. It's second semester senior year. My grades don't mean shit. So I don't who cares if I'm not studying? It's
Ugh.
really okay. He's right. Like that is like although usually that doesn't happen until you've gotten into college and we have no idea where Brandon's going to college at this point. So he maybe shouldn't take his foot all the way off the gas, but he's not the academic rigor of second semester senior year is minimal at best. So he's taken that and said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just bet a lot of money. Yeah, I just think it's everybody saying, eh, you're not so important that I can't trade you in for a slight bit of money. And
Yeah.
it's dark and not awesome. Um, anything else? What else you got for what it's really about?
Yeah, that one stuck out to me the most early on, and
Mm-hmm.
it has stuck with me. Um the only other thing I could think of is like the things we hide from people.
Hmm.
Thinking that, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at things we hide from people because Jack's obviously hiding something from Dylan. We don't know why. It's being framed to look really bad. And I just now had the thought of like, oh, they could totally try to bring it back around to be like, but I did it for this, I did it for you. I
Right.
did it for us. But it's
Mm-hmm.
ultimately going to be an awful thing.
I had a
Uh,
dream. I
ha,
dreamed it for
Dreamed it for
you,
you.
Dylan.
Yeah. They may have been out sick, but I haven't been. Couldn't call me though. I don't know the blocking. Um,
Sons of bitches.
oh well. I'll just do the one woman gypsy show. That'd be great. Half of me is doing burlesque and the other half is doing all the other characters. I
There
like
you
this
go.
idea.
Do it.
Someone Venmo me.
You gotta have a
Um,
gimmick.
and I do. It's called Making Depression Cute.
I like
But
it.
yeah, uh, Kelly's obviously hiding more and more that she's not eating.
Mm-hmm.
And like people are slowly starting to pick up on it. Like, you feeling okay? Like, I just want some tea. Or like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't get dessert because I didn't have dinner. Oh, darn. That was my whole
Yeah.
thing.
Brandon and Dylan both like saying, you didn't eat anything. Are you all right? But
Yeah,
again,
people.
it's it's an aside, but they're noticing. You're right.
Yeah, and
And
Brandon
Brandon is hiding.
hiding his.
Yeah, he's hiding all his
Yeah,
gambling. Yeah. And again,
which he
people are
doesn't think
starting to
is a
notice.
problem. Yeah.
No. But Jim is like, we should probably have a conversation sometime when I'm not too busy with fucking Iris over here. Um,
So maybe it's not so much that it's about the things we hide from people, it's that you can hide something for only so long. People will eventually
yeah.
notice.
Hmm. Yeah.
Although
And I
nowadays,
mean,
you could probably hide something really easily
yeah.
because no one's paying attention.
Well, yeah. I do think that there's a lot of that. People getting wise. They don't look wise, but they're wise. I think that there's a couple things that are going on in this episode. Also, this is a bunch of people in over their heads. Like Dylan and Iris are both in over their heads with Jack. Like
Yeah.
he's got them dancing with his little puppet strings. He's pulling all of them. He's everything that's going on. Um, I mean, it might be being controlled by the person on the other end of the phone, whoever that is. But Jack is making Iris and Dylan do the dancing. They think that they are on some kind of level footing, but they are in way over their heads here. And Iris, I think, knows it, and that's why she's like, "Take the money, I'm out," because I can't stop this from happening, whatever this is. Um, Andrea is in over her head and totally out of her element at the Yale party, where she's just, I mean, don't I know you from the which, by the way, um, I mentioned this, and I feel like there's a certainty you don't know this song, but she made a direct reference to a very good Paul Simon song.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, I didn't get it.
yeah,
So,
when she said, "Who am I to blow against the wind?" There's a Paul Simon song called "I Know What I Know," and
mm,
one of the lyrics is, "Don't I know you from the cinematographer's party?" And it's like, yeah, who am I to blow against the wind? Like, I'm just gonna go. Like, he's clearly at this. He's at a gathering of industry types, and people are doing the "Don't I know you from the cinematographer's party?" And he's like, "Sure." Like, yeah, we know each other. That's who am I to blow against the wind? I know what I
I
know. I say what I say.
I didn't know that was a thing. And I just always think of the line from Rent that I always remind people of who is she. Like
Uh huh. Right.
yeah, when people tell me, "Oh, you remind me," that's immediately what I think of, and I'm not impressed.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I did like that they threw that in there, that they're like they recognized the that connection in Andrea's experience to that song and just had her like drop the reference to it. I thought that was kind of nice. But Andrea in over her head with this Yale business. Is going to be a lot for her to go to Yale, to pay for Yale, to feel like she fits in. Like if you're already feeling money insecure at West Beverly, feeling money insecure at Yale is almost a guarantee. But it's interesting that they show how it's different, you know? Um,
Yeah.
like that upper crust, that blue blood money, and how it's different than rich Hollywood people money. Although, like, we know from the weirdest frat party ever that where everybody wore blue except for Brandon, and there was a whole upstairs Dixon St. Clair Memorial.
Yeah.
Um, that Jack McKay has donated money to this campus to get a building named after him. Right? Like I guess it was USC, where
Yeah.
they were supposed to be. So she already knows people who have donated money to colleges to get buildings named after them. So like the Yale kids aren't that much different in that regard, but it took Andrea 3 years to feel relatively comfortable with being poor around these rich kids. Um, and
Such a shame she's
she's
not
feeling
really
it
gonna
again.
go.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think they would give us that. They want everyone in the sad same place together.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see when college decisions are made. Um, David and Steve are both in way over their head with Curtis Bray and the entire music industry. Just not, they don't know. I mean, I think Steve knows that David's in over his head. David thinks he's got the tiger by the balls. Um, that's a bad place to have the tiger by because
He formed a
lots of
circle, he brought people together, so he thinks he knows everything now.
yeah. Well, he ended gang violence and racism. I mean, Um, and Brandon, who I mistyped in my notes as Brandong, which is fun. Um, I know. I just keep seeing it as I glance at my notes. It says Brandong, and I'm like, yes. Brandon is in over his head with his sports gambling. He just doesn't know it yet. Um, Related to all of that, this episode is also about people riding high. Like
Mm.
David is riding high. He's got a new record deal. Jack is riding high. He's finally got access to all this cash. Brandon is riding high on all of his winnings, buying skis and 10 disc CD changers for the trunk of his car. And Dylan is riding high after a real bad year. You know, like, and I'm sure that everything's going to go great for all of these people who are currently at their apex. But like, everything's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. There's not next episode. Not a single bad thing is gonna happen to any of these people.
Even though
Um,
it's called Dead to me.
I think dead end.
Dead
Dead
end.
end.
It had dead in there. I went, well, that clinches it. Someone's dying. Although
Yeah.
last time I thought someone was dying, no one died. But this time it's got to be right.
Well, maybe we'll have to see. But there's all these people who are just like everything's great, nothing's going wrong. We can't possibly get a comeuppance. Um, so like I feel good for Dylan in the moment because he is like it has been a tough run for him this year. I mean, all of the turmoil again, some of it self-inflicted, admittedly,
Oh, thank
but like
God. Someone saw it.
no, yeah, but it's been a rough run. Like he's just from Mel and Jackie's wedding last year. It's been a bumpy road for Dylan, and now like his mom comes to town and is kind of cool. and he's got like this good relationship with Jack, that like he likes this guy, that he's spending time with him, and now he's being used in some capacity that we don't have our hands around. So that's not great. But at the moment, Dylan is feeling good. Like he's finally made the decision. He's making out with Kelly a lot. Um, and whatever happens with Brenda is going to happen. But he's out of the triangle drama that had been going on for the last 6 months. And that has to feel real good. Like, I've made my choice. I'm building this relationship with Kelly. Whatever is going to happen with Brenda is going to happen, but it's no longer my problem. Like my role in that is over for now. And
You
so he is like,
delusional man.
I know, but he's not wrong about that. Like because he has finally ended that relationship. And so it's no longer his responsibility what's going on there. It was all his responsibility when he was dangling the two of them and not making a decision. And, like the whole thing was a mess and he was at the center of it. Now it's not anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's two separate things. It's relationship with Kelly, my ex-girlfriend, and whatever's going on with her. That's really none of my business now.
Yep.
It's just not. So, but it's a TV show and these folks are never getting rid of each other. So, that it's going to continue. They're going to continue to bounce off of one another. But let me ask you this question. What do you think about Iris's advice to meet your enemy halfway? And do you think that's what she does here? Or do you think she just rolls over, shows her belly, and gets a good rubbing?
It doesn't feel like what she does.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't have to meet Jack halfway anymore. They are out of each other's lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they're doing the conscious uncoupling or whatever.
Right.
They haven't done that. They have signed a declaration of hate and made sure to not be in the same vicinity as the other. So no, I don't think she's meeting her enemy halfway. She's just, like you said, laying down and expecting belly rubs.
Yeah. Capitulated.
I think I don't like the idea of Brenda considering Kelly an enemy, or I guess it's Dylan.
Opponent. I think she says opponent. I think I said enemy, but
No, it's okay. Yeah, I don't know what I think about that advice. I think it would be more helpful if it was being done by someone actually practicing what they preach. But then again, we all give advice that we need to be giving ourselves,
that's right.
following ourselves. So, it's
Yeah.
it's something. I'm glad Brenda is able to find strength in the crystals, because the world would be easier and nicer if we could all take a breath and come together and talk.
Mm-hmm.
That is so much easier said than done.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that I can't still hope and dream that it is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Some cases more than others, and especially when you're coming out of a love triangle and it's with the love of your life and your best friend. Sure, you all can totally fix things if you talk and try to slowly bridge that gap. It's not going to happen overnight. But isn't it nice how in TV things can be rectified?
and rectified a little more quickly.
Yeah.
Like I think it's the healthy thing for Brenda to not hold these grudges. Like I don't think it helps her to spend all of her time moping and angry. I think it's fine to do that for a little while. You need to process your grief, however that works. But at some point, and that's what she's, all of her dream sequences are her trying to come to grips and move forward. And, like they all start out with her being very mature and end with her like committing acts of violence against people. But she's trying, like she's
Yeah.
trying to get there in her own head, and she's not there yet. And it isn't until, Iris and her crystals that she's able to make the next step, which is like, instead of just having that conversation where she's very mature in her head, she can start it out loud. And I mean, it was the, I'm not even going to say olive branch, because it's not really a peace offering, but it is um, it's a step. And the step is only so far as, hi Kelly, and then, oh, you're talking to me now, maybe, I guess, and then she
Maybe.
leaves. Yeah, it's not, she's not making like, hey, let's go, let's call that, who's that girl that shoplifted, let's go hang out with her. Like,
Right.
there's not, they're not doing stuff together. um but she's getting out of the house, she's doing stuff with Donna, and she's no longer saying that there is a wall here. And
Well,
that's a good first step.
yes. I will give Iris this too. Even though I don't like what she did, and it could be for many reasons that aren't great, it seems very clear that Jack is someone who scares her. And I think it
Mm-hmm.
also scares her that Dylan is showing signs that he could also turn into Jack, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe, even though we don't like this solution at all, maybe this was the best solution for her so that she can set that boundary of like, you know what? I I think I tried with you. I tried the most that I could, which wasn't
Yeah.
much, but
Mm-hmm.
I am so damaged from your dad and damaged from the fact that the little I've done has not been enough for you. It's really
Yeah.
hard to try and defend Iris, but hang with me, people. Because,
I'm with
like,
it. In Iris's defense.
oh, God. I just think, I wonder if this is one of those situations. Because I think it's important to note that, like, you can try with people, and then at some point, you have to raise the white flag and be like, I can't. I
Yeah,
can't
this
with
is too
you.
much.
I've
Yep.
tried with you. You won't listen. You don't want to hear me. I used the one card in my arsenal with you. So I'm cutting it off. You have what you want. Blow up your own life. I tried.
Yeah.
Sort of. Um yeah, I again, if it was anyone, maybe not anyone else but Iris, but yeah, it's really hard to make this case for Iris.
It is, because she's such a, I mean, the laziest of all parents in this show. You know.
She's what makes New Age or anything different look bad because she's
Right.
relying on that to solve everything. And it's like, no, you with meditation, you still have to make the effort to implement these tools when you're being overwhelmed by all these other emotions. Like, some
Yeah.
days you're going to do really well with the tools you have put in your toolbox, and then other days you're going to flip the box and not be able to use it at all, and you just have to sit there and cry. Like,
Sure. But you know what? That sitting there and crying is one of the tools in the box.
yep.
All of those they're all methods. You know, it's the key is to not get stuck with that method,
Yeah.
whatever the method is. I heard um, an analogy I like quite a bit is, if you have a splinter, use the tweezers to take the splinter out. You don't leave the tweezers in there.
Mm.
You don't hold the tweezers for the rest of your life. Like they were a tool. You use them, you put them down, you move on. You
Yeah.
know, getting stuck in the method is, you know, just as bad as whatever you were dealing with before.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know. Iris is going back to her fucking Pineapple Mountain or whatever. Um, I can honestly say I don't remember if Iris ever comes back.
Wow.
I
That's
just don't
funny.
remember. Yeah, like there's not. I mean, she's mentioned, you know, but I don't know that she ever shows up in the mainland again.
Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, she tried really hard. Um, one last thing before we move into nostalgia corner. Um, I'm sure that these are things that you didn't get because of not having the music, but the music in this episode symbolizes obviousness.
No.
Um, because you know Brenda has that. She has the axe dream with the surfboard. Poor surfboard. R.I.P. surfboard. Um, and when she comes back out of the dream, the next line in "Losing My Religion" is "That was just a dream." Like they literally cue it up to the "That was just a dream" line in the song, and I'm like, oh, I see what you guys did there with your.
Does she axe the surfboard?
She goes right at the surfboard. Yeah,
Oh, they cut that.
really. Like she comes at Dylan and Kelly, and they step out of the way, and she
They cut that from mine.
weird.
They totally like she brings it up and Kelly gets all disturbed and she's like, What's she doing with an axe? And Dylan goes, I don't know, it's not my fantasy. And then it
Right.
basically cuts.
Oh, yeah. There's a couple extra seconds there.
Stupid.
You know what? I bet they do. So I wonder this. Brandon comes in and asks Brenda, "What's up with the song?" Did you see
Mm,
that conversation
no.
about the like the part where she's like, "This was like, you know, I wish I felt as that was the worst I thought I could feel, but that feels so much better than this. So I wish I could feel that."
Nope.
You didn't hear that?
No.
Weird.
Wow, this is a
Yeah.
bummer.
Yeah, it is. Because all they would have had to have done, like, because she says, "It's losing my religion." It was playing in the car when Dylan and I broke up the first time. All they had to really cut was where she says, "It's losing my religion." She could have
Uh-huh.
just said, she could have said, "This was playing in the car the first time Dylan and I broke up." And the whole thing can stay and it works just fine. I can't, that's a shame they cut that because I like that bit. But then there's another song at when in the Peach Pit when David is uh, shit canning Steve. Um, the song on the radio is "So You Want to Be a Rock and Roll Star." Uh,
Oh.
yeah, I think it's the Birds version of it. Um, so it's a little bit on the nose. So you know, but props to them for just going at it. You know,
Oh yeah.
that was just a dream. All right. So, what did this episode make you nostalgic for?
It made me nostalgic for the music I listened to on breakups.
Okay. Is there a go to or is it different for every breakup?
It's been different for many.
Okay.
And oddly enough, the ones that I came up with were like more around college because that's when I dated more. Um, I don't know. I got more into like playlists and listening to like multiple artists in one sitting after college. But anyway, so uh Adele's 21 album
Mm.
came out, I don't know, between sophomore and junior for me. And so Rolling in the Deep was a big thing
Mm-hmm.
that I would belt in the car at a particular time.
Mm-hmm.
I have just a few albums I'm going to list. So the Scripts album, Science and Faith,
Mm-hmm.
was a breakup album for me. Um, have you ever heard of the musical The Last 5 Years?
I have not.
Ooh, it is heart wrenching. It is about
Mm.
a relationship from the beginning to the end, but with the woman telling it at the end, um, all the way through until how it started, and then it's opposite for the man. He starts at the
Mm.
end. Wait, no, he starts at the beginning, and they meet in the middle. And I've had
Interesting.
to stop in my adult years listening to it because it's It's too rough.
Oh,
It's
wow.
beautiful. It's excruciating. And
Mm.
then my last one, Lemonade by Beyonce.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, these are all generational because
Yes.
I'm familiar. I'm familiar with these things, not the musical you talked about, but like one, I've been married for 18 years, so I haven't had a breakup in a long time.
Yeah.
So like all of these albums you talked about, I have been happily married during that stretch. So they don't mean much to me. Um, I did think of one just this second because I was like, I didn't have one that I was like, uh, that came to mind, but then something did. Sarah McLachlan's album Surfacing,
Oh,
the yeah, the her first big one. Um, uh, that one was it was a big fat open wound, and listened to the shit out of that in the mid '90s. So that's the one that comes to mind for me.
nice.
Like some of those songs, um, like I can still hear a lyric and go, ooh, you know. Like there's one line in one of those songs that is she says, uh, "If I leave you now, it doesn't mean that I love you any less."
Oof.
And I was like, "Ow!" Like,
Well, and it's it's weird because there were other breakups where I didn't necessarily have like a breakup album to listen to, but there were songs I had to avoid because they
mm,
reminded me of that person so
sure,
profoundly. Um, and I can listen to those songs again, thankfully. But it's just
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's so interesting how like music can be the balm as well as the poison when you're
yeah.
going through a breakup. Or and I mean
Mhm,
it could be anything gut wrenching. Music is a wonderful um medicinal thing. But
mhm. I mean, sometimes you have to feel bad. Like you just have to feel that shit.
yeah,
And the music helps you feel it faster, harder, more acutely than if you didn't have the music. So, like, that's, I mean, like, Brenda has her reasons for losing my religion. But, like, I think the real reason for most people is, like, you need to feel that pain in order to get through it. And the music helps you feel it and as such helps you get through it. um you can't, it's not all sunshine lollipops and
nope.
rainbows. Like that's not the vibe you want all of the time, and it's not a helpful vibe.
And
Sometimes the
screaming is
vibe
really bad
is
for your throat.
more, well, there you go.
So
um
sing instead, but safely.
yeah, and lollipops are probably okay, they give you a little coating.
There you go.
Yeah, I say do that. Um, what this made me nostalgic for, strangely, is also music related. Um, it is the appearance for the first time of the parental guidance recommended sticker on records.
Ooh.
Because I am old enough to have lived through that happening. And suddenly having things that you wanted to buy with this little sticker on them prominently placed so that if you bought this, your parents would know maybe you shouldn't buy this. Um, and it was, and I mean, it, as with all censorship, it made the thing you put it on so much more enticing. Like, oh, there's dirty stuff on that. I want to listen to that. Like, Two Live Crew are mostly garbage. Like their songs are not. I mean, like, hey, we want some pussy, and pop that pussy, and me so horny, and face down, ass up. Like these
Jesus.
are, yeah, these are ridiculous. I mean, they're ridiculous. But the fact that they were deemed obscene and that we should not be allowed to listen to them, of course, made every teenager want to listen to these things much, much more.
I had two albums that had
Uh-huh.
that sticker on them.
Okay.
And I think they I think they summed me up pretty well. The first
Okay.
one was Green Day's concert album.
Okay.
The second one was Spring Awakening, the musical.
Okay.
That's
I don't
me.
know that one, but yeah.
I
I
mean, when you
mean,
have songs like Bitch of Living and Totally Fucked.
it only takes one curse word, I think. It only takes one fuck to get you on the, parental guidance recommended list.
Well,
Um,
and to be fair, Spring Awakening is entirely, for the most, I would say like 90% about, teenagers getting into sex.
right.
So, whatever song may not have curse words in it, it's about something, you
Yeah.
know.
Suggestive. It's about a flower opening. All of it. Yeah. So yeah, parental guidance recommended. It was a big deal, man. There was such a fight over that when it happened, and people were up in arms, and fucking Tipper Gore, um,
Can
just being a real shithead.
for At the risk of sounding stupid, did they have a problem with like the possible censorship of it all, or like
Who?
did
Who's they?
well, who was mad about it is what I'm asking. Was it people? Was it kids?
The artists were mad about it.
Oh,
The artists were mad that you were trying to censor our music by, putting this sticker on it and telling people who can and can't listen to it. No, Tipper was all for it. She was pushing for this to happen.
okay.
It was all about protecting our children's ears from this horrible stuff. Um, Frank Zappa had a lot to say about it. A lot of really intelligent go fuck yourself things to say about censoring music. Dee Snider from Twisted Sister um, had a very famous congressional hearing where he lectured Congress about this censorship. And like, do you know Twisted Sister?
Not
Like,
really.
okay. Um, just all you got to do is Google Twisted Sister, and you
Okay.
like the image, the visual of Dee Snider with his hair way out like this, and crazy amounts of like bright makeup, and like it was very theatrical and super over the top, and like he had an image, and
Hmm.
the image was kind of dumb rock and roller, you
Got it.
know and then he goes in front of Congress and is like, his hair's pulled back, in a ponytail, and he's wearing a suit, and he's not wearing his, stage makeup. He just looks like a person, and he rips him a new asshole, and it's really nice.
Nice.
Um, yeah. So I don't know. I came of age at a time where there was a censorship battle happening, and found myself very
Damn.
much on the side of go fuck yourself with your censorship. Like,
Yeah.
Dee Snider's right. Everyone says all the time. Yep.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
recommend
That's fair.
it, and I recommend listening to um, Frank Zappa talk about censorship and all of that kind of stuff. He was really smart. All right, go ahead.
No, I was just
I thought you
thinking
were.
like this is I forget that I'm spoiled sometimes because like growing up I felt like I had super strict parents, and like to some extent they were Midwestern parents, like,
Mhm.
they actually parented. Um but when it came to things like, cuz I know my mom bought the Green Day album cuz I asked for it, and then I bought myself the Spring Awakening one, and she was like, seeing the sticker, because she didn't really look at stuff. She's like, I found
Mhm.
the thing. Here's the thing. Merry Christmas.
Right.
But she looked at it and was like, I don't know if I should be letting you listen to this. And then
Mhm.
let me listen to it. Like, she wanted to do
Right.
that bit of like acknowledging, I don't know how I feel about this. This thing is telling me I should care more.
Mhm.
I think I can let you make this decision on your own,
Mhm.
Or like, it's music. Also, I think she also had a recognition of like, there are worse things out there that kids are seeing that is not being
Yeah.
regulated. So, you know, all of the things I was processing as you're telling me this, because I'm thinking like, stickers, who the fuck cares about stickers? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, there are people out there ruining the arts for others because they don't think people can decipher,
Mhm.
what is and isn't bad, or I don't know, is or isn't questionable. I don't know. The things being censored are usually not the things that need to be censored.
Nothing needs to be censored. I mean, it like
People can
if
learn on their own.
yeah, and really the thing is, if it's not for you, turn the dial.
Yes.
Like no one's forcing you to listen to this. If you don't want to listen to it, don't listen to it. It's
Yeah.
fine. You don't have to buy Two Live Crew as nasty as they want to be. You don't. It's not required of you. You can ignore it completely. It doesn't have to impact your life one way or the other. Um,
Yep.
but you shouldn't tell other people what they can and cannot listen to or read.
Yeah.
Like the suppression of ideas is dangerous and bad, and this stupid little sticker is part of that battle. And it was a loss.
Got it.
It was a loss for free speech. And it's a tiny loss because it didn't stop anybody from listening to anything. These albums still came out. You could still buy them. Um, Sometimes you had to go up to the counter and ask for them because they were behind the thing. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so it's but it's a step down that road. It's a step down the road towards justifying the suppression of ideas,
Yeah.
and that is fucked up.
Yes, it
So,
is.
um, I guess I am nostalgic for a time before there were parental guidance recommended stickers on records, even though it literally stopped me. Never.
Yeah.
You
But
know.
that's a valid thing to be nostalgic for.
Yeah. All right. Who is your Steve Sanders Memorial worst person of the episode?
I'm at a loss this episode.
There's
Like,
some to choose from.
there,
But there's also like defensible, like you could say David, but also he should fire Steve. You know what I
I
mean?
think I'm I think I'm going to be lazy and say Jack because no matter what he's got brewing, it's not good and
Yeah.
he's a manipulative fuck. So,
Hmm.
uh cuz like he was totally hoping to wine and dine Iris, use some
Hmm.
old tactics. He encouraged Dylan to use manipulative tactics. Yeah, fuck Jack.
It worked too. Yeah. Yeah. Take her up to Ojai. You know what's funny about that is when they said, what's that town she likes to go to? And I was like, oh, they're talking about Ojai. Like before they got any further down the road, I'm like, oh, they're talking about Ojai. I've never been to Ojai, but I know. Ojai is
Wow,
exactly where Iris wants to spend all of her time.
that's funny.
Um,
Never heard of it.
oh yeah, it's a very new age place. Um, all right, it's Iris for me because fuck Iris, and I don't know, I don't get a whole lot of chances to just call Iris the worst. So
Okay.
when it's here, I'm gonna take it, and it just folds like a cheap lawn chair. I'm giving all of your money to you, and I'm leaving. Bye bye.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
never been good at standing up to him.
And
Have
I'm
you ever
not
been
going to
good at
start
standing up?
trying. No,
Yeah.
I'm not going to. I've never been good at trying, and I'm not going to try now.
Where's the crystal for helping me stand up to Jack? It doesn't exist, so I'm getting on the next plane.
And it's a plane that's 3 hours earlier than I had intended. And I'm not going to call ahead. Fucking Iris. Yeah, that's who it is for me.
Fair.
All right, I think we did it.
We did it.
All right, so join us here on Friday, Cheesemeisters, when we are going to watch a movie about a breakup. Um, a movie that I've heard hasn't aged well. I feel like I'm going to push back on the idea that Swingers
No.
hasn't aged well, and the reason I'm going to push back on it is that these guys were not um, aspirational. Like they were never put out there as the paragon of how you should behave and act. So the fact that they act like chuckleheads um, is kind of the point. Like
Yeah.
they're not. It's not like, hey, 1998, this is how you should be a guy. It's mostly like,
Right.
hey, 1998, this guy's a fool, but he's entertaining as hell, isn't he? So we're
Yeah.
gonna watch
I'm
Swingers.
really trying to be better about, because we've started watching Stargate, and there was an episode last night where Walter read the synopsis and was like, "Oh, maybe we should skip this." And I had him read it, and I was like, "Let's watch it. It's nothing like I haven't already heard." And like, there was, you know, maddening stuff, but nothing truly upsetting, not like anything that I haven't seen or heard about in the world before. And I think that is a good muscle to stretch for everyone, because for everything to be correct and educational
Right.
is cutting out a whole lot of other genres. Like,
And Swingers is a comedy. Like it's funny and it's supposed to be funny. You know,
and I
it's
hope I
not.
find it funny. I say all that
I hope,
hoping I like it.
I hope you do too. But if you don't, there'll be a lot of stuff to talk about. So we're gonna watch
Sure.
Swingers this week, and then join us here next week, Cheesemeisters, when we watch season 3, episode 21, Dead End, where some things happen.
I can't wait.
Yep. But until then, bye.